Time and tide wait for no man. A person who is lazy imagines that he or she has all the time in the world. The tardy person thinks that time is his slave and he or she can do things whenever he or she pleases. However, this is not so. There is a saying that time and tide wait for no man. Tides have their fixed timing and do not wait for anybody. Similarly, time waits for no man. The clock keeps on ticking. If we do not use every minute to do something worthwhile, we are simply wasting our lives. They say, never put off for tomorrow what you can do today. So, let us respect time and do things when they are supposed to be done. Let us not put off for tomorrow what we can do today. There is a time for everything. Work while you work, play while you play, study while you study. Let us not idle away the hours in useless pastimes such as watching TV for hours, gossiping with friends, or just lazing around the house doing nothing. It is only the person who uses every minute wisely who is sure to be successful and prosperous in life. Make hay while the sun shines. Hay is moved and dried grass. The drying can take place only in summer weather. Therefore, hay must be made while the sun shines. The implication of this apparently simple advice is that we must seize the opportunity before us and take maximum advantage of it. A chance lost may never come again. We must avail ourselves of favorable circumstances and use them to our advantage. Youth is the time to take risk, work hard, make all-round progress, and lay by enough for a content and comfortable old age. Strike while the iron is hot is another saying expressing the same idea. Opportunities will not present themselves again and again. The readiness to seize one when it offers itself is the key to success. So, we must make hay while the sun shines. A bad habit comes as a slave but stays as a master. It is comparatively easier to form a new habit than to get rid of an old one. That is why it is said that old habits die hard. The reason is that once we form a habit, we are unable to get rid of its influence on us. It becomes our master and we become its slaves. Thus, making a loud noise while drinking tea or often using bad words while speaking become habits, and these habits are indeed difficult to break. Bad habits are easily picked up in a bad or evil company. People who have bad habits tempt us to do a thing just once for fun or excitement. However, the initial fun or excitement make us want to repeat the act, and it is thus that we form bad habits. That is why it is said a bad habit comes as a slave but stays to become our master. Changing a habit or getting rid of a bad one can be quite difficult, but it is well worth the effort. There will be some inconvenience in the beginning, no doubt, but the determined effort will be well worth the reward. The pen is mightier than the sword. The word pen in this proverb refers to the power of written word. The word sword refers to violent action. Thus, the proverb implies that the influence of the written word is more powerful than any kind of violent action. In today's world, public opinion has become very powerful. If a newspaper brings to the notice of the public the corruption of a particular minister, there is an outcry. As a result, there is an inquiry and the minister is forced to resign. If, on the contrary, the minister is beaten up by an aggrieved party, that will only make a martyr out of him. He will deny the allegations and will continue to remain in office. Thus, the written word proves to be more powerful than violent action. The written word even has the power to initiate national and international political and social reform. Newspapers can investigate corruption and injustice and bring the culprits before the public eye. The written word is enough to scare them. A born child dreads the fire. A child is innocent. It does not know that fire is dangerous. Without knowing or thinking about the consequences, it puts out its hand to touch the flames. However, when it feels the heat or its hand get burnt, the child will never repeat the action. By experiment and from experience, the child has learnt to dread the fire. This is true not only of children but with any other person of any age. Everyone faces troublesome and some dangerous situation in life. It is from these situations that they learn how to behave correctly. Take the example of a young man riding a motorbike without a helmet. One day he is caught by the police and fined. The next time you can be sure that he will wear a helmet. It is his encounter with the law that teaches him to do the right thing. When a student who has the habit of copying in the examinations is caught and punished, he or she will never do it again. Life teaches us in many ways. It is for us to learn. Well begin is half done. On the first day of school, student A makes a timetable for the whole year. On the other hand, student B goes out to play, thinking that he will take each day as it comes. Which student do you think will do well at the end of the year? Student A, of course. And why? Because this student had begun the academic year well. No wonder they say, well begun is half done. You wish to do a science project for a school exhibition. Sit with your parents or friends. Write down your plan and points. Note down the materials you require, the aims of the project, and so on. Then developing the project becomes easier. The initial spade work that you have done will hold you in a good stead. You will find that because you planned well in the beginning, your project had gone like clockwise. So, always remember, whatever you decide to do, begin it well. for well begun is half the battle won. Rome was not built in a day. The city of Rome, like all great establishments, was constructed over a period of many years and required immense planning and toil to be completed. When it was finally built, it was one of the grandest cities on earth. Thus, the proverb implies that we should not expect to achieve something great in a short period of time. Any good work needs perseverance and patience. It took Ronald Ross almost 18 years to find out how the malarial parasite entered the body of a human being. William Harvey took 12 years to find out how blood circulated in the body. It takes a whole year of continuous and hard study to do well in the examination. Students who come in the merit list in the SSC examination study for long hours every day. If you want to be good at any sport or to play a musical instrument well, you have to practice for hours. So, always remember, in order to achieve something great, you have to preserve for a long period of time. For Rome was not built in a day. Look before you leap. Some people act very hastily. They make decisions without giving the matter much thought. Later on, they regret what they have done. It is for such people that the saying, "Look before you leap," has been coined. The reason why we should look before we leap is because life presents us sometimes with difficult choices. Impulsive action may lead to trouble. Before doing something important, it is necessary to stop a while. Think about the consequences of the choice you are going to make, and only then must you act. Always remember that once you act, your action is generally irrevocable. Thoughtless or careless deeds are a sign of immaturity. If you want to be respected, measure what you think and to be circumspect about what you do. Too many cooks spoil the broth. When too many people are involved in a task, there is bound to be chaos. Every job requires a certain number of people. If the number of people for that job is for some reason increased, there will be too many viewpoints and no proper decisions will be taken. This is what happens when there is overemployment. This is seen especially in the public sector where no employee knows whose order to obey. Ultimately, no work gets done. Everyone is disgusted and frustrated and comes to work merely to get salary. There is no sincerity and devotion to the job. Hence, it has been said, too many cooks spoil the broth. Whether it be a science project or a planning committee for an annual day, or an editorial board for a class magazine. The number of people involved should be just right, not too few, for that would not be representative of the class or group as a whole, nor too many, for that would result in a multitude of ideas that would result in nothing but a mess. Many hands make light work. When our class decided to build a hut for a poor family on the outskirts of our town, about 15 of us volunteered. We reached the place at 9 a.m. and began the work. By 5 p.m., we had completed the brick structure and had even put up a roof. None of us felt tired. We felt refreshed and excited and happy. This was because many of us had been involved in the project. The work had been shared and the duties divided under the guidance of our social studies teacher. The experience taught us that many hands make light work. Before our school annual function, chairs had to be kept on the school ground. The PT master selected about 20 Boy Scouts and they passed on the chairs from one to another, thus finishing the task in record time. A task that seems difficult becomes easy and is completed quickly when many people are involved. Laborers on a construction site work by the same principle. Workers on a railway track also work the same way. When many people are involved, there is plenty of laughter and fun and light-heartedness. The seriousness and heaviness of the task appears light and time flies by. Hence, it has been said that many hands make light work. An ideal mind is the devil's workshop. As long as a person is busy, he or she exhibits a positive and normal personality. The moment a person is idle, negative thoughts enter the mind. The person begins plotting mischief, pranks, and perhaps even vengeance. These are all traits of the devil. Hence, it has been said that an idle mind is the devil's workshop. This is very often seen with small children. Give a small child some puzzle or drawing book or building blocks and it will spend hours without bothering its mother. But if the child is left alone with nothing to do, it will yell and scream and go around the house breaking things and causing a general nonsense. Even a good mind will run to waste if left unengaged for a long time. Without any constructive work to do, it will think negatively and the person will indulge in destructive actions. We must therefore always see to it that we are mentally and physically engaged in the active pursuit of something good at all times. Duty is deity and work is worship. On the other hand, an ideal mind is the devil's workshop. It is never too late to mend. A person may indulge in a life of crime for years, but that does not mean that he or she cannot change his or her ways. There is the story of the murderer who was taken to be hanged. He was asked his last wish. He asked his mother to be brought to him. Much to everyone's shock, he bit off her ear. This is what he told his outraged mother. If only at some stage in my life you had corrected me, I would not be facing the gallows today. There have been many smokers who have given up smoking. There have been many alcoholics who have given up drinking altogether. There have been many gamblers who have given up gambling even at the age of 60. In fact, the proverb, "It is never too late to mend," is a message of hope for everyone. It tells us that we can give up any bad habit at any stage of our life. Do not count your chickens before they are hatched. There is a story of the milkmaid who carried a pot of milk and daydreamed about how much money she will make. The result of her daydreaming was that she dropped her pot of milk and finally earned nothing. This tale only drives home the point that we should not count our chickens before they are hatched. This means that we should not be too sure about our success in advance, for something may still go wrong. When a father plans the monthly budget for the family, he has always to take into account some unforeseen contingency. Then only can he set aside some money as savings. Anything could go wrong. A child may fall sick. Some relatives might pay an unexpected visit. There may be an unexpected wedding to attend. Businessmen too should not judge their profits by the number of items they produce. All the items may not be sold. Some might be faulty. Some retailers may not pay them. They have to take all these factors into account before they can total up their profits. So, we have to be reasonable and restrained while assessing the outcome of our actions. We must be prepared for all the eventualities. Hence, this saying is of much practical importance. If trees could speak. Jagdish Chandra Bose has proved by his experiments that trees have life just like animals and humans. They can feel and respond to our behavior and talk. I wonder what the trees would say if they could speak. A tree responds to pain. So if a tree could speak, it will say, "Ouch," if we pricked one of its leaves with a pin. It will scream with pain if we cut one of its branches. Its flowers will cry out piteously if we pluck them. And so would every leaf on the tree if smoke from a nearby chemical factories were to suffocate them. Trees will certainly complain about their bitter enemy, man. They would tell of their countless murders of their kith and kin that he has committed. They would never forgive him for his thoughtless act of cutting them down only to build houses for himself. It is for us to stop and listen to them. Books, our best friends. A good book is a treasure house of knowledge. The knowledge and wisdom stored in books is far more valuable than gold, silver, or precious stones. When Abraham Lincoln was a boy, he used to walk miles early every morning to borrow a book to read. Later on, he became one of the most loved and most revered president of America that the world has ever known. Books bring us in contact with the finest minds, and we share in their experiences and the joys, sorrows, and adventures of the characters described by them. Books teach us how to overcome problems, how to achieve success, how to face challenges. They help us forget the din and bustle of the outside world and overcome stress. They provide us with comfort during difficult times. They make us laugh and cry. How beautiful is the rain! The rain falling on earth is one of nature's most delightful spectacles. After months of extreme heat, the skies open up and sheets of rain envelop the earth, quenching its thirst and transforming its dry, parched brown appearance into golden green. Silver streaks of lightning slash the sky to accompaniment of drums of thunder. First thin drops begin to fall. Then they turn into showers and finally thick walls of rainfall layer upon layer on earth. The earth becomes one endless pond. Gutters brim over and rivulets dance in delight, rushing aimlessly along the alleys and the streets. Trees and plants drip water and look bedewed with innumerable pearls. The earth takes on an emerald hue and coolness spreads across the land. Farmers thank the god for soaking the land with life-giving water. Indeed, the rainy season is the most beautiful season known to man. Practice what you preach. There are many people who have the habit of giving others advice whenever they can. They speak impressively and appear to be very wise. However, when it comes to actions, they themselves do not act on their own advice. This, however, is not true of everyone. There are many people who, by their actions and words, show others how to live. Such people have a great influence on others. They have the power to change people's life. Mahatma Gandhi and Mother Teresa are evergreen examples of such kinds of people. A man may advise a boy about the evils of smoking. Then he calmly puffs away at cigarette. All his careful advice goes up in smoke. A woman may advise a girl to be gentle. Then she shouts at her neighbors and family. How will she be able to convince the girl to grow up to be a gentle lady? We have to practice what we preach, as Gandhiji did. Otherwise, we will simply appear a hypocrite to others. A penny saved is a penny gained. Day in, day out, people struggle hard to earn more and more money. However, there are many who throw away their earning with reckless abandon. How can such people dream of gaining any financial benefits? Every person who spends hundreds of rupees buying lottery tickets cherishes fond hopes of amazing, fabulous wealth. If only he or she dropped those some rupees in a box, soon the box would be full and so much money gained. A penny saved is a penny gained. Thrift has its rewards. Most people are hard up not because they do not earn enough, but because they do not economize and put by a little regularly for a rainy day. We can very well do without a great many things that we waste money on. The same amount can be saved. In Charles Dickens' famous novel David Copperfield, Mr. Micawber says annual income £20, annual expenditure 1996, result happiness. Annual income £20, annual expenditure £20 not, and 6 result misery. How right he was. Thus we learn that saving brings gains, while being a spendthrift can only result in severe losses. Knowledge is power. When our ancestors first lit a fire in their caves, they defeated the demon of darkness. The knowledge of light dispelled the darkness of ignorance. The knowledge of wheel and taming of animals helped overcome the hurdles of space and time. Knowledge of better warfare produced the victors and vanquished. Knowledge of technology created the overseas empires and colonies. Above all, knowledge of disease helped us to prevent or cure most of them and lead happy, long lives. From these examples, we understand that knowledge is power, the power against all overwhelming odds. So, the progress of a country depends mainly on its advanced and well distributed knowledge, the power to take it ahead. This is the age of intelligence, and it is heartening to see that our country is awaking to the call of the age. The time is not far off when we conquer the world on the strength of our knowledge. Yes, knowledge is power, and we shall prove it to the world. Life is a game. Generally, when you play a game, you never know what is going to happen next. You do not know how exactly you or your opponent will react to some move and what the final result will be. You may experience joy, sorrow, anger, and other emotions during the game. However, whatever happens, you must do your best and take the result sportingly, vowing to do even better the next time. Life is just like a game, for you never know what twists and turns it might take. You are never sure what awaits you round the corner. You may have taken great pains the whole year round with your studies, but you may fall sick at the last moment and may be unable to give your exam. Or another student may secure the top position you had aimed for. However, this loss is not important. What is important is the way you react to it and the lessons you learn from it. What is important is to remember that there are many more opportunities for you to play many more games and win. Actions speak louder than words. We live in a democracy and our political leaders promise us the stars at regular intervals of 5 years. How we wish some of their words really turn into actions. How we long to have a Mahatma in our midst to show us the right path through his own actions? Alas, they are not to be. Day after day, we hear the hollow words and learn the hard way that actions speak louder than words. What we do is most important than what we say. A good orator may talk about compassion for hours on end, but it takes a Mother Teresa to lift a dying man and nurse him. We did not have to wait for an opportunity to come by to act. Every single deed that makes this world a better place is a good and a great deed. Lending a helping hand or giving a pat on the back or flashing a smile of encouragement, all this go a long way towards making this world a better place. Of course, words have their place. It is good to deliver a speech on the ways to change this world, but it is always better to do your bit to change the world. Yes, actions speak louder than words. Work is worship. Abraham Lincoln commented that if God did not want us to work, he would not have given us hands. Truly, it has been said that duty is divine and work is worship. It is only through the toil of hands and the sweat of the brow that we can accomplish what the Creator has planned for us. Every student is aware of the hours of effort that have to be put in to achieve success in an examination. We would have no food if farmer did not toil in the sun and in the rain. Our houses would have been built had construction workers not labored under the scorching sun. Work is necessary for every good thing achieved. We should remember that God created the mighty mountains and tiny grains of sand with the same care. Hence, we should not feel ashamed to perform even the smallest chores. Helping mothers in the kitchen, dusting the house, fetching groceries, or handing a spanner to father while he repairs a bicycle. We should take up this simple task with pleasure. It is not below our dignity to take a broom in hand, nor it is a burden to carry books for a teacher or help a laborer to lift his load. Any kind of work is a tribute to the greatest worker of all, our Creator. Everybody's responsibility is nobody's responsibility. If a piece of work is given to a group of people without appointing a leader, it will be found that the work is not carried out properly. This is because everyone in the group thinks that other person is going to do the work, even if they wish to do it, because the credit will be shared among many. The interest they take in the work will be much less. If the work is left incomplete or is shoddily done, no single person will be held responsible. This freedom gives people a chance to shrink work. However, if one person is assigned to do some work, he knows that he is fully responsible for it and will be taken to task if it is not done properly. Besides, he knows that if he does it well, he will get all the praise. This will spur him in doing the task well. Thus, if a teacher tells her students, clean up the classroom, she will not find anyone responding. They will merely be expecting someone else to stand up. However, if she picks out several students, then the work will be done properly. Save the trees. There is no doubt today that one of the best ways to save the environment is to plant more trees. However, before doing that, we must try to save the trees that we already have. We must spoil illegal feelings of trees and also try to develop products which do not require the cutting of trees. Trees are unselfish living things that give us a lot without asking for anything in return. They help us to remain healthy by giving out life-giving oxygen and taking in carbon dioxide. They give us many useful products and medicines. They stop soil erosion and are helpful in attracting rain clouds. They give us shade and shelter. Unfortunately, in spite of this knowledge, we still cut them and make way for cities, buildings, and roads. What we need today is a strong national organization or body that will take strict action against those who cut down trees. Only when the punishment for this crime is severe will we be able to save the trees that we have. All that glitters is not gold. Appearance can be deceptive. Every shining, glittering piece of metal that we see is not necessarily gold. It may be cheap gold color plastic or some other metal. Again, a book cannot be judged by its cover. The cover may be very attractive and interesting, but the matter inside may be totally boring and vice versa. We see many tempting advertisements on TV and often buy the products advertised. How often we are disappointed in them? The outer package was good, but the contents inside were rotten. Therefore, we must never be foolish enough to judge someone by his or her external appearance, however attractive he or she may be. We must know the person well, find out his or her qualities, and then decide whether we want to be friends. This is especially important during adolescence when children turn into adults and want to make independent judgments. If we have a look at the past, we will find that some very famous and highly respected people were neither good looking nor flashy dressed. Yet they became famous and were respected and revered for their qualities and their noble of work. Ultimately, this is what matters, and we should always remember it. Love your country. Breathes there the man with soul so dead, who never to himself had said, "This is my own, my native land." In this line, Sir Walter Scott, a great poet, expresses his disbelief that there can be anyone who does not love his or her country. Love for one's motherland is inborn, instinctive, and is a noble virtue. We are born and brought up in our motherland and are nourished and nurtured by her. It is the mother country who gives us food, clothing, and shelter. Indeed, for everything we have or for what we are indebted to her. Therefore, it is only natural for us to love our motherland. Love for the motherland is the force or the cement that binds all, irrespective of religions, languages, and ideologies. The poetry of earth is never dead. This is a line from a poem by John Keats. It means that the sight and sounds of nature are forever alive, whatever the season or place. There is music in the air all the year round. In summer, we see lovely green grass. In winter, beautiful white snow. In summer, we hear the grasshopper. In winter, the cricket. Nature always has some delightful sights or sounds to entertain the senses of man. Even in the harsh desert and cold mountains, there is enough beauty to please the eye. Monsoon especially is a season that poets love. It is the season when the air is filled with the incessant croaking of the frogs, the splattering of the rain on rooftops, and the gurgling of the gushing streams. Even the silence of beautiful scene provides music for the human soul. As the poet rightly adds further, the poetry of earth is never ceasing. Every cloud has a silver lining. People generally feel very depressed and unhappy when they face difficulties or find themselves in unpleasant situation. However, every such difficulty has its own positive side. A butterfly struggles desperately to come out of its cocoon and may even wonder at the cruelty of nature. But these struggles make its wings strong and helps it to fly easily later on. Similarly, every dark cloud has a silver lining. That is, every difficulty has its own positive outcome. Manu, a 5-year-old orphan living in an orphanage, was devastated when the tsunami wiped out the only home he knew, the orphanage. It seemed to be the end of the world for him. However, through some social workers, he met a couple who had lost their only child in the tsunami. The couple saw Manu, loved him instantly, and took him into their home and heart. Manu got a lovely home and loving parents. The tsunami, which had been a dreadful cloud for him, also had a silver lining. Therefore, one should always go through life believing that whatever bad things happen, there are also some good outcomes. Instead of depending upon others, we must learn to do everything by ourselves. Self-dependence gives one confidence. It also saves a lot of time and money. Even the most menial tasks can be done by us. This was a principle that Gandhiji, when he was in South Africa, took very seriously. He even took up the task of cleaning his own toilet, much to the disgust of his wife Kasturba. Gandhiji also purchased a book about laundry and washed his clothes and ironed them. He believed very firmly that self-help is the best help. If we depend too much on others to do things for us, we become their slaves. Our minds become weak. We lose willpower, confidence, and self-respect. But if we fix our minor problems ourselves, manage simple jobs of plumbing and electricity, repair simple gadgets at home, we will find the satisfaction within ourselves of a job well done. A sound mind dwells in a sound body. The present system of education lays too much stress on mental development. The physical development of the student is sadly neglected. For the all-round development of the child, due importance must be given to sports, games, and health education. Sufficient amount of school time should be devoted to sports and physical training. A student must be taught how to keep fit, what care must be taken to prevent diseases, and what kind of diet to follow to keep oneself energetic. All this should be a part of education in schools. A strong and healthy student will, in the long run, surpass the pale, sickly scholar who is merely a bookworm. Every student, unless absolutely impossible, should be encouraged to participate in some sports or the other. This is very necessary in order to develop a healthy and strong body. To enjoy life, a person should have a physically fit body. What is the use of degrees or achievements if you are sickly all your life? Life is a struggle, and only the person with a healthy and strong body will be able to face the challenges of life successfully. Success is realizing one's dream, or what counts is trying. If at first you don't succeed, try again. How true it is that persistent effort ultimately helps one to realize his or her dream. King Bruce of Scotland tried 6 times before he defeated the English. He was inspired by a spider in a cave at a times when he felt most defeated and depressed. Marie Curie, who won 2 Nobel Prizes, did not rest on her laurels. She kept on working with an ever-new enthusiasm and ultimately sacrificed her life for her work. Wilma Rudolph, a paralytic who was told by the doctor that she would never put her feet on the ground and walk. But she went on to win 3 gold medals in the Olympics for running. Many students get discouraged when they do not do well in examination or fail. Such students should understand that failures are stepping stones to success. All they need is renewed determination and efforts, and they will finally succeed. Handsome is as handsome does. Everyone is attracted by a person endowed with good looks. However, this does not mean that the person will behave as charmingly as his or her looks indicate. Handsome is as handsome does. The actions of a person make the person more attractive than his or her looks. People like Abraham Lincoln, Mahatma Gandhi, or Mother Teresa could not be said to look exceptionally charming or handsome. Still, they are remembered all over the world as people who lit up the world with their inner beauty. In fact, very often we discover that good-looking people can be quite rude and selfish. And this surprises and pains us. For we expect a handsome person to behave in a positive manner. This, however, is more the exception than the rule. A handsome person can be quite arrogant and curt. On the other hand, a person with plain, simple, and ordinary looks can behave quite endearingly, and you can learn to love and respect that person more than you would a stunningly attractive person. A cactus plant looks ugly, but it provides water to the thirsty animals in the desert. Appearance can often be deceptive, so never judge a book by its cover, but judge it by its content. Two heads are better than one. We are reminded of this saying almost every day in school. Teachers always ask us to form pairs and discuss the points in our lesson. Most of the time, my partners outdo me in the brilliance of their ideas. Nonetheless, I often find myself coming up with some fantastic idea which would never have popped into my head had I been left alone to think all by myself. Putting two heads together, that is, discussing with a partner, is not just an exchange of ideas between two persons. It produces a certain alchemy and generates a whole new range of ideas. It helps us to see things from different viewpoints and umpteen perspectives and angles. In short, it is an enterprise where both the parties are gainers. This is again one of the sayings which we should really put into constant use. Laughter, the best medicine. American humorist Josh Billing hit the nail on the head when he said, "There is not much fun in medicine, but there is a heck of lot of medicine in fun." Yes, there is a lot of medicine in laughter, and it certainly is the best medicine. Medical experts say that many of our diseases are caused by stress, worries, and tensions. So, if we change our attitude to life in general and be hopeful and cheerful and have optimism and faith, we shall surely be able to laugh away many of our physical ailments. Laughter also helps us in the stressful times. Science has proved that laughter, or in other words, a cheerful and positive disposition, improves digestion, regularizes hormone secretion in the body, and thus equips us with the power to resist disease. Medical experts say that laughter chases the toxins out of our system and makes us feel greatly refreshed physically and mentally. No wonder it has been said that 100 laughs a day are equal to a 10-minute jog. A stitch in time saves 9. A small tear in your shirt or dress can be mended with just a few stitches, but a delay in repair will need many more stitches to mend it. This is the literal meaning of the proverb. The underlying meaning is that if we neglect a minor initial defect, it will cost us a lot of trouble later on. A small crack in a dam, if not repaired in time, may lead to a large breach and flooding of the area around. A small crack in a piece of furniture or a ship may result in a major accident. Any bit of trouble seems harmless in the beginning, so people ignore it initially. However, if the trouble increases, we finally have to pay a heavy price in terms of time, energy, money, and suffering. Hence, it is necessary to nip the trouble in the bud. The proverb advises us to deal promptly with a problem or trouble right at the start, lest it get out of hand. Timely actions saves a lot of unnecessary trouble later on. A stitch in time saves 9. We are the architects of our own fate. An architect is a person who designs and plans buildings. When we say that we are the architects of our own fate, we imply that we ourselves are chiefly responsible for our success and failures. We make or mar our careers. Generally, when we face difficulties or obstacles, we blame the stars or ill luck. However, this is not true. It is our personality traits that play a great role in molding our lives. If we show courage and determination, we can change the course of our lives. If we give in or give up, we are sure to face depression or downfall. From history, we learn that world's greatest personalities were not creatures of circumstance. On the contrary, they carved their own destinies. Mahatma Gandhi fought for India's freedom on the basis of his firm belief in truth and ahimsa. As a character in a play written by Shakespeare, he said, "The fault, dear brutes, is not in our stars, but ourselves." If we have the grit and guts, we can achieve anything. If character is lost, everything is lost. It has been said that if wealth is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. But if character is lost, everything is lost. How true! No doubt, money is important. We have to pay for everything we need. But even more important than wealth is health. What is the good of wealth unless we have health to enjoy it? And how are we going to earn money unless we are healthy enough to work for it? Loss of money is not so bad as the loss of physical well-being. If money is lost, nothing very great is lost. But if health is lost, something absolutely necessary is lost. However, even more important than health is character or reputation. Money and health, when lost, can be regained. It is not so with character. Once one gets a bad name, one is marked for life. If a person is found to be a liar or a cheat or something equally disreputable, he or she will never be trusted again. No amount of wealth or good health will be of any use to him. People will always whisper behind the person's back and give him or her a wide berth. Hence, in order of priority, character comes first, then health, and last of all, money. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Suppose you have a bird in your hand. You then see two other birds in a bush. You are not satisfied with the one you already have. You let it go and chase those in the bush. They too fly away. In your pursuit, you have lost even the bird you possessed. The moral of it all is that a present advantage or gain is better than a distant one. What you have already is better than what you are likely to get. A certainty is infinitely better than a probability. We often hear a man who has a certain amount of money saved in his bank. He is tempted by higher rates of returns elsewhere. He withdraws all his saving from the bank and then invests them in the shares of a company. The company turns out to be a bogus one. The man loses not only his interest but also his principal amount. Not satisfied with the bird in hand, he has chased the one in the bush and lost whatever he had. Thus, the saying teaches to be content with what we have rather than pinning for what we do not have. That's it for today, students. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can subscribe my channel to learn more essays from Suman's Academy.